Hey everybody, it's Zach. Welcome back to the Heroverse. And guys, I'm here with my bro Troy. We are finally about to do our spoiler review for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. I'm super excited to get into this. I know, Troy, you're excited to get into this. Um, you know, uh, we've been wanting to talk about this really and see actually we've been really waiting just really talk to you guys about this about go in depth in the spoilers. And also we have another video we're gonna make talking about where things could go. And I don't want to say any more than that until we get into that video. But Troy, say what's up.
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going?
Troy, I'll let you start off first. So we know me and you both know how excited we both were for this movie. We were super excited for this movie. But we know I want to talk real quick on how Rotten Tomatoes gave this a 47%. We'll start there, and as we all know, it got confirmed that it is kind of there. I guess it's on the same score as Eternals right now. But I want to say and there's a big gap too. For 47 on Rotten Tomatoes gave it to I think it was 80 something on the audience score. So first things first is would you say that what they did would you say that's accurate for what Rotten Tomatoes gave it? Even though we don't really care about it, but I'm curious to know, what would you say?
Absolutely not. Rotten Tomatoes. I want to meet the person in charge at Rotten Tomatoes and all the critics that they get their scorings from, because, pardon my French, but they're their heads are up their rears, because they have no idea what they're talking about, man.
100%. I agree with that. I thought it was outrageous that it was at a 47. And like I said before, I feel especially with with everything with Eternals, I was I was just I really never liked Rotten Tomatoes, but really at that point I was they don't really know what they're talking about, and they just Marvel's heading into it's not going to be the same thing after Endgame, you know what I mean? So I really from that perspective of how they rated Eternals to how they rated Kang Dynasty, I was I don't care what they're giving it. I know this movie's going to be fire. We both knew this movie was going to be fire. And it was I feel it's really with the audience score. I feel would you give it an 88, or would you say it's above that?
An 88? No, I wouldn't give it that. I would probably give it an 80.
Okay.
I'd say 75 to 80%. It was a good movie.
Yeah. So I think I'd probably give it I'd probably give maybe an 80. All I know is I liked it a lot. And I thought it was a great way to start Phase 5. But going into this movie, would you say it hit all of the aspects that you wanted from the trailers? Because from the trailers to what the movie gave us, I don't know. I feel it kind of, it gave us kind of what we wanted, but it didn't at the same time with how they executed from the trailers, making it sound Scott was going to take the deal, take Kang's deal because he wanted more time with Cassie like they gave us in the trailers. But it kind of wasn't that in the movie. Instead of him getting more time with Cassie because of the time he missed, which that's how the trailers perceived it, or at least the second trailer did, it was more he wanted to get Cassie back because he took Cassie as a what's the word for it? As kind of as an insurance policy for if Scott didn't follow through on getting him the device he needed. So I feel in a way the trailers kind of in a way tricked us on them. I feel maybe that plot line would have been a little bit better, because I felt okay, it really would have motivated Scott a lot more. But it's still on the same point. I was okay, he's trying to get Cassie back. It's still good because he's willing to do whatever he can to get his daughter back. So it still fit in with the plot line. I kind of wish it would have been the other way around, but I was okay with what they gave me. I was still satisfied. You know what I mean?
Yeah, same here. I was very satisfied. I'm glad we did take a few days.
Yeah.
Cause it gave me time to really think.
About the movie and let it sit in.
Let it sink in a little bit. So.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy because we went to the Dolby showing, and the trailers got us hype. We went to the Dolby showing. We went to a 3:00 showing. After we saw it right away, we were okay, that this is fire. We really enjoyed this movie. I can't wait to talk about the post credit and end credit, which we'll talk about that, and we'll do another video about that as well. But you know, I really enjoyed it the first time around. We both did, and then when we saw it the second time around, I still enjoyed it. I was like, okay, like I still enjoyed it. And you know, my sister, after I told her, like, you know, she was waiting for me to hear what I thought about my second go around, because I guess my sister whispered to my brother Nick after the first showing we saw on Thursday, saying I understand why it got, you know, a low rating, like a 47 on Rotten Tomatoes. I guess she told my brother that, but I was
She didn't like it.
She didn't like it as much, and she expected me, I guess, on my second viewing, she thought I wouldn't like it. But I still enjoy it. I still really enjoy this movie. I feel like it did what it needed to do. Especially this movie, I would say, isn't even Scott's movie. It's Kang's movie.
Exactly.
It's Kang the Conqueror's movie. This movie was meant to set and pave the way for how much of a threat Kang is, and also set the way of going forward of like where we are going to see Kang and like and where things are going. That's really what this movie was. Honestly, I would say this movie kind of was like the, I don't even know really what I would even say it was. Kind of like I would say kind of like the Infinity War almost. Kind of like, you know, or actually I don't even know if I give it that. Like, it's kind of hard because with like Thanos and things, like it was weird because, actually, I would say it's just kind of like the Ragnarok. Let's just say. Of like, now like Thor Ragnarok was like the kind of like the more stakes, but kind of like the more outlandish funniness movie.
Yeah.
I would say this movie was that. Of like, it really stepped up, because the Thor movies, I feel like, never stepped up until like the third movie, where it was like crazy and Thor had some humor. I feel like this movie, you know, it wasn't just, you know, your normal heist mission. It was more like it was more like a bigger set, and like it was a bigger movie overall. Essentially, it was a bigger movie overall.
Yeah, the stakes were higher.
The stakes were higher. It was a bigger scope of a movie, and also it knew what it needed to do by setting up Kang. And I feel like this no other movie could have done it. I feel like this movie needed to do it, especially because we all know how important the quantum realm is and how important it's going to be. Because, you know, ever since, you know, we got the quantum realm and I would say in Ant-Man and the Wasp, we kind of knew that we were kind of going that route and going towards, you know, and that was going to be important going into Endgame. You know what I mean? We kind of knew it was going to be very important, and especially in this movie, you know, the Ant-Man franchise was the only thing to open the door for like Kang to appear, essentially. You know what I mean? To like and make his first debut. So I feel like this movie did what it needed to do on bringing Kang and showing how much of a threat he was. But, you know, I really want to know the scope overall of like, what did you think of kind of, you know, the whole movie being in the quantum realm? Like, did you enjoy that? Did you miss any of the heist, you know, part of Ant-Man?
No, I thought the movie felt very much like an Ant-Man movie.
Yeah.
I loved, you know, like I love when the Marvel movies are outside of like just Earth, you know, and especially seeing it in IMAX, in Dolby, it looks beautiful.
Facts.
So yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I loved, you know, the Ant-Man humor with, you know, Hank and Paul Rudd, and
like I really, the thing I really enjoyed about this movie is that it wasn't like Peyton Reed finally got to make his big movie. Like, he didn't want like the Ant-Man movies to be like small anymore. He's like, I want this movie to have stakes. I want this movie to, you know, kick off something. And I'm so glad, because again, it works so well in his favor because of, you know, this entire phase is built around the quantum realm and built around the multiverse. You know what I mean? Like, and it started all back, like I said, in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then it go to like Endgame. Like, so I'm really glad that, you know, he was able to make the movie he wanted to make, and I'm glad that he got to kick off the vibes of where we're going in phase 5, because like I said, it's the multiverse saga. You know, the multiverse is connected, you know what I mean, you know, to the quantum realm from what we've seen, you know what I mean? And I really enjoy that where this movie did that, especially this movie on the scope of how beautiful the, you know, the VFX artists did for the quantum realm was insane. Like the way the quantum realm looked, I was like very impressed. Like the way it like worked and the way it looked, they did an amazing job. Like the VFX artists, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like it was
Especially
crazy.
especially when they were going, like they got sucked into the portal to get to
Yes.
the quantum realm. It like reminded me of that one scene from Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness
Yeah,
when
where
they're
they're like
going through.
flipping through the
Yeah.
different multiverses. Yeah,
Yep.
it was sick. Like just also like I love the idea of like in the beginning of the film, it's Scott. Like I guess it's Scott walking down the street and it says it's the song "Welcome Back," and he's just like telling us like he's like reading his memoir, like his book about him saving the universe with the Avengers. And I love that. I love how like that's how we start the movie, and he's kind of feeling himself. He's kind of like, yeah, I did this. Without me, if I coming back, no one would be back. You know what I mean? No one would be undusted. So I really do love that. But I also love that while he's basking in the glory of him saving the universe, he's kind of part ways in a way with his relationship with Cassie. I feel like there is a gap between him and Cassie on how Scott feels that, oh, I've saved the universe, I've fought the worst of the worst, I'm chilling now, like I'm basking in my glory. Well, Cassie's like, no, there's still people still need help. Like she's still fighting the good fight and trying to do things, especially helping. She helped the homeless shelter in the movie. That was kind of the police were kind of kicking people out and stuff, and she kind of shrunk a police car, and she's trying to fight the good fight where she can. You know what I mean? It might not be Avengers level, but she's still trying to fight the good fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like Scott was really doing. He when he first got arrested, because he was like, because remember that company he worked for was taking stuff from people, so he like did his little like computer work and he gave people back the money that was stolen from them. I love that. It's kind of like that's how Scott was in the beginning, and we kind of see that journey that Cassie's having, but Scott doesn't want Cassie to be doing that. You know what I mean? So I love that. Like she's doing what Scott was doing, but Scott thinks that, oh, you don't need to be doing that because the world is okay. So I loved that dynamic. I really enjoyed, which I was surprised that like in the midst of everybody being dusted, Cassie was doing research on Hank's books about the quantum realm and also like ants and everything like that. So that's really cool that Cassie was doing that and kind of looking up to Hank. I thought that was really cool. I weirdly I didn't expect that, but I was like, okay, that's actually really cool that she looks up to Hank. And you see like really how close the family has gotten, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yep.
And I really loved where Hope was too, like where Hope was in her life, how she's like took over Hank's company. I forget what it's called. Like what's it called? Hank's company? It's called like Pim Tech or Pim
Yeah.
Yeah, Pim something. I forget what it's called, like the Pim company. And she's doing stuff with like people with hunger and people with she's like she's solving like world hunger, and she's doing a whole bunch of different things with Pim particles, and I thought that was really cool that that's what she was doing. And you can just see that everything is good between Hope and Scott, but things are kind of rocky between Cassie and Scott. So I really did love that dynamic in the movie, and I loved how they were all Hope, Hank, and Cassie were all working on the quantum realm and trying to figure out the quantum realm and trying to learn about the quantum realm, while Janet doesn't want anybody learning about the quantum realm because of what's down in the quantum realm. So, but like you said, the whole sequence where they all get sucked in, I thought was really cool. Like, I thought that was really sick. And the ant farm getting sucked in, that they've been working on ants and how ants are like, can be enhanced in the way they think. And they're pretty much, it was way more advanced the way the ants were like building their own civilization, in that little like, ant farm that they had inside the basement. You know what I mean? Like they were building like building up like tech and colonies and stuff in that little ant case. So I thought that was really cool to set the way of like, when they got sucked into the quantum realm, what those ants eventually end up doing in the quantum realm. But, other than that though, like Troy, like what did you think of between once they got in the quantum realm, like what Scott and Cassie were doing and like what Hope and Hank and like Janet were doing? Like I kind of like how they were separated in the movie, and then they got together later in the movie. I kind of like how they're on their own journeys figuring out the quantum realm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I really liked how, you know, um, what's her name? Janet.
Janet, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Janet finally was like, you know what? I have to tell you guys, like,
Yeah.
what really happened, why I am this way, why I'm being this way. Um, and I like that. Like, it wasn't only Kang's movie, but we saw a lot of her too. And,
Exactly. It was like,
she felt like a main character, like a main, like,
oh, she felt like a real main character, like, to like, because without Janet really like keeping the secrets, I don't know, like, you know what I mean, it's, I wonder if, they would still have, I love that dynamic of like she knew who Kang was, like she knew of him, and that's what delayed her from coming home. You know what I mean? It's like, there was a way for her to come home, but she didn't choose that way to come home because it would have revolved, of Kang, leaving the quantum realm. So I really did love how she was keeping that secret even when they got in there. She was still keeping the secret of why did you pull the plug? Why didn't you want us coming in here? Why didn't you tell us, that all this was down in the quantum realm, and meeting the creatures in the quantum realm that Janet has, been around before. I thought that was really cool. Like, just the creatures alone, the way they looked and the way the civilization looked down in the quantum realm, it reminded me a lot of Star Wars.
oh
On
yeah,
like how like the one how like the what is it, the way the buildings looked, like there's a word for it, like for buildings, the way like the foundation looked of like the way buildings looked in the quantum realm, and also like the way the creatures looked. It reminded me a lot of Star Wars and the world building of Star Wars and stuff, like they did it here. I'm glad we got a lot of world building too, where like it gave time for Cassie and Scott to like rebuild their bonds, trying to figure out like by getting, like being taken by this kind of, colony down in the quantum realm, these kind of rebels, and pretty much, they find out like they don't have a clue what they were saying until they drink that, the ooze, that red ooze. I thought it was really cool that the red ooze was from the alien, I forget what the alien's name was. It was like Mep or something, or Vep. I think it was Vep, wasn't it? Like Vep or something.
I don't remember.
But I thought it was really funny that it was his ooze that made it where they could understand them speaking. So I thought that was cool. That like that's the way that humans are able to tell what they are saying down in the quantum realm. It's kind of like they're on a different frequency and they're taking the red ooze to kind of like get on the same frequency. I thought that was really cool. And it was really cool, like I said, that they split them up where it gave them time to build up their, bond together again, but also find out from that perspective of, this is what we've had to deal with. And it connected with Cassie, because Cassie was fighting the good fight with people that were homeless, and kind of like the rebels were homeless because of the invading of Kang. So I thought that was really cool that she was wanting to be like, well, Scott was like, we can't fight this. We can't, we're not from here. We can't help them fight. She's like, no, just because it's not happening to us doesn't mean it's not happening. We need to help them. And I love when they mention, of course, when Scott mentions the name Janet, that's when the one girl, I forget what her name was, that was kind of like the leader of like that squad of like, of rebels.
Yeah.
I can't remember what her name was. It was like
I can't remember names either.
yeah, I think her name was, I'm looking at IMDb right now. Gentora. Her name was Gentora, and she was the lead of like the Freedom Fighters. Like that's what they're called, I think, the Freedom Fighters. And it's this rebel group, pretty much, of what's left of fighting against Kang. And I really do love how like they're like, oh, like, the name Janet, and she's like, oh, like she's not supposed to be down here. And it's like everybody knows except, again, the people that are close in the family of, with Janet, like with Hope and Hank, about really who, because she's keeping those secrets, but they end up finding out those secrets, was it Cassie and Scott themselves, through rebels that had to deal with the events of Kang, while Janet got to get out of the quantum realm via Hank and Ant-Man and the Wasp. But I love how like they're explaining that we had to deal with Kang because of Janet. You know what I mean? Janet didn't have to deal with Kang, but we had to deal with Kang when she got out. So I really do love that dynamic of like, they're like, oh, like she shouldn't be here, because she left us here with the Conqueror. I love that. And I love how they go by the Conqueror. That's what they call him. Not even Kang. They call him the Conqueror, and I loved that. I thought that was cool. It's like still a mystery of like the Conqueror is here, and I mean, and she left us with him. And when we meet Krylar, or I think his name is Krylar, which is Bill Murray's character, I thought that was cool too in the history between Janet and Krylar, that they were both like freedom fighters and they both fought against Kang. I thought that was really cool too. But what was your what did you think about that when like Bill Murray first showed up on the scene? I knew it was him right away when that ship flew in to like the bar, like this kind of like alien bar that looks like it's kind of away from like, at least that's what she thought. She kind of thought this was like a bar that was kind of like for freedom fighters and kind of like for people that she could like stay down low. But little does she know that Krylar is kind of, like little does she know Kang is like in control of Krylar, and it's kind of like he made a deal. Krylar must have made a deal with Kang to kind of like be like the head honcho of like the quantum realm, or kind of be like he goes by like the president now in the quantum realm or something.
Lord Krylar.
Krylar. So he had to have like, ratted out some people, some rebels to Kang to get the name, to get like the moniker like Lord Krylar. You know what I mean? To become Lord. So but she doesn't know that until it's kind of like too late, and it says, and pretty much tells the whole family like, oh, look, your mom's a liar, whether you want to admit it or not, she's a liar, and she left us here with a ruler. And I mean, like, she did this and she got to leave. So I loved that dynamic, that people changed because of the choices Janet made by leaving them down there with him, when she initially helped him build back up the quantum, and they're not the quantum engine, the multiversal engine. Like, she helped him rebuild that. And I thought that was cool in the beginning of the movie, that's how we kind of like, in a way, start the movie before we get Scott's intro, is, Janet being there, and then Kang ends up being crash landing and ends up pretty much saying, what is this place? And we see the relationship that they built up, where she thinks that he's just just somebody that just crashed there. Like, what did you think about that when like kind of like started the movie off like that? And we think in a way he's kind of innocent, but we know he's not, but Janet thinks he is. Like, what did you think about that?
I thought it was cool, like I was like, oh, okay, this is how we get to know Kang the Conqueror, how he becomes the big bad, the guy we all know from the comics and whatnot. So I thought that was cool that
I thought
they did that.
I thought it was sick too. What did you did you by any chance have a favorite part of the movie?
Favorite part, definitely any part with Kang in it. Probably the part I would probably say towards the end where he's
he's wrecking shop
down and he starts just killing everybody, man.
Dude, I really enjoyed where like, where Bill Murray's character, Krylar, gave up Janet and them, and while they're trying to find the engine, trying to get to like the engine that Janet ended up putting the discs into and made it unstable, so he couldn't get out. But the lead up to that also, where like they end up fixing it, and they've been down there for God knows how long trying to fix that engine. I do love the moment where like she ends up touching the engine and ends up seeing that he just destroys and conquers the multiverse.
I love that.
Love that sequence, and I love where she just like she says like, who is Kang, and he's like, it's who I need to be. And I love when she's like, he's like, Janet, come in here, let me take you home. Like, let it be where like you open the door and you're standing right there, like just. And you can just tell how he just doesn't want to be angry, and he's saying, just Janet, get in. Like, don't ruin this for both of us, just get in. And I love the moment she's like, your daughter will never know what happened. You can go home and you can stand right there. And your world won't be touched. Just get in. And she says like, what will you do once you get out? And he's like, win. I love that line where he's like, win. I was like, oh shit. And like, the ship ends up going up and it's turned on, and it puts his suit on. I was like, oh bro, I was like, that's fire. And then the moment where like she shrinks it, and he just gets so angry and does this burst of energy, and just said, at this point he doesn't care anymore. He's like, give it to me, Janet. You're not doing this with me. Give it to me. And I love it like she's like, why do you think you can stop me, before she shrinks it. Like, I love that when he's like, why do you think you can stop me? It's just how he just thinks that, like, you're in way over your head. All you guys. I'm not new to this. I've been fighting other people in the multiverse. Like, why do you think you can win? You know what I mean? I love that.
Exactly. Like, even when he's down bad, he always finds a way to, like... That's why I like the ending, and that's why, like, I'm confused why a lot of people think he's not, like...
A threat?
Yeah, because, number one, he's not dead.
Oh, no. I can't wait to talk about that, bros. Yeah.
And number two, he did not get defeated. He got ambushed, and he was still...
Yeah.
He was unfazed in the end when he was fighting Scott. Yeah, he might have been tired. He was just fucking wrecking shop.
Bro, he was wrecking house, bro. Yeah, bro, he was wrecking. He was wrecking house.
And he's just a human, so obviously he's gonna be freaking exhausted from all that stuff.
Yeah.
Fighting Scott, and then like, I can't wait to see what they do.
I loved the
with him.
Facts, bro. I loved the introduction to like Scott meeting. I guess before we get to that, like, let's talk about MODOK and MODOK's introduction. That was really cool. I don't understand why people are hating on the way MODOK looked. Like, I mean, that's as good as it's gonna get with the character MODOK. Like, yeah, MODOK looks goofy, but that's MODOK. You can't make him look any better. You know what I mean? And that was like the top of the line visual effects artist working on the way MODOK looked, and I thought he looked amazing. His introduction where, like, Krylo's like, I sent the hunter, and, Janet and all of them are like, oh, who's the hunter? And little do they know it's MODOK. You know what I mean? Yep. And little does Scott know until until MODOK wrecks shop and Gentora gets captured, that MODOK is Darren Cross, from Ant-Man. So I really enjoyed that. Like, and we get to the explanation of like how Darren like survived. It was because of Kang, and kind of turned him into a weapon. I really did enjoy that. But like when the introduction where like Scott meets Kang for the first time, and that was really badass. Just Kang, walking in there, and I love when the mask comes off and his eyes are blue, because the blue like makes his like the mask going on makes his eyes blue. I love that effect. It's like the tech. Too. I thought it was badass. I love the nanotech that like Kang uses. It's nanotech, and I love how it's like, oh wow, like I wonder if like Tony paved the way for like Kang to get this tech, you know what I mean? Because he's been all throughout the multiverse and all throughout the universes, and you know what I mean? He doesn't follow a linear path. So I'm wondering, did he get this tech from the future from Stark, you know what I mean, building it?
What I was hearing, I think it was CBR, their YouTube channel. I think what they were saying was his suit isn't technically like vibranium or like nanotech.
Yeah.
But it could be adamantium or something even stronger than those things.
Yeah.
You know?
Because I'm
something
thinking
even more advanced than that.
Yeah, 100%. I thought it was sick though. Like just the whole costume.
I thought it was sick
fire,
too.
bro. The way the mask goes
very
on.
Comic accurate.
Facts, 100%. Like I thought it was. You couldn't ask for a more comic accurate costume. It looked badass. You know what I mean? For a goofy suit that Kang has in the comics, they made it look sick. You know what I mean? It looks so cool. And like I said, like I loved that interaction where he's telling Scott, like, I got something taken from me, and I'm gonna need you to get it back. And of course Scott doesn't want to do it because he sees alone how much of a threat Kang is. But of course he threatens Cassie, saying like, look, like I will kill your daughter if you don't do this. If you don't, I heard you're a good thief. I need you to go do this for me. And people are like, the biggest complaint people had is that they said it didn't feel like he was like heisting anything. But in reality, he kind of was, because because it was taken from him. It was stolen from him, the multiversal engine by Janet, by her taking it and making it unstable. And Scott's the only person to make it stable again because of the Pym particles. So I really did love how he was still heisting to get it back, to make it normal again. So I was like, it's still a heist. He still has to go in there and make it small again and make it usable. So I love the moment where like he knew instantly like where it was, like his engine, how it was like he couldn't fix it. I loved that whole entire sequence where Scott goes in there, and it's called the I guess it's called a probability storm. That's where Scott is when he shrinks down within the molecules, and like it's a probability storm. Like it's like other copies of himself because it's a probability storm. It's so it's so unstable, the device, that it does that. And I thought that was really badass, the whole sequence.
I thought, dude, it was so funny, bro.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
And then seeing Hope come in there, dude, I thought that was awesome.
Dude, seeing Baskin-Robbins Scott had me dead, bro. I was crying.
Wait, why was his name that said Jack or something?
Yeah, because that's the name he went by in Ant-Man 1 when he worked at Baskin-Robbins.
Yeah.
And apparently, Paul Rudd's son in real life his name is Jack. So it's kind of like a little like him honoring like his son and stuff. So I thought that was cool, like a little like nod to his son.
Dude, I need to rewatch all these movies.
Facts, bro. Like I said, I rewatched Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp and Loki all before the movie. Like I think it was like a month before the movie, but I loved that. I loved that scene, especially when like Baskin-Robbins Scott pops out, and you hear one of the Scotts out in the distance say, "Oh, you have any ice cream?" I was like. I started cracking up, and even in the second viewing, I wanted to know if anybody heard that Scott say that, but like no one laughed. I was like dying. It gets me every time. He's like, "You got any ice cream?" So, and then I love when they're like, "Oh, like when the one Scott says, 'I got this,' and he shrinks up, like he goes big, and then you just see a pile of goo." And it's like torn to pieces. This big Scott fall on the ground, and all this. The main Scott's like, "We're doomed. We're all gonna die." And you just see all the masks pop on, and they're all just spreading out. They're all like scattering. I loved it. I all loved how they were kind of like it was all a probability of Scott trying to figure out how to shrink this. This engine. How do I shrink this? They were all trying to figure it out, but they were all failing. So I loved how it gave Scott an opportunity to be like, "Okay, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work either." Well, also, Janet, Hank, and Hope all get there, and they hear the frequency of Scott down in the engine, and she goes to go get him. But I do love how all the Scotts, all kind of were like in a linear, like they were all connected on the same frequency of they all wanted to get back to Cassie. So I love how they all came together, and it was like an ant farm. How they were all coming together, and he was talking to them, and they were all trying to, making an ant pile, trying to get to shrink the engine. I thought it was really amazing too, the way it looked, that sequence. Bro, that sequence was fire. The way it looked. There was a lot of visually stunning sequences in this movie, and definitely that was one of them. Him shrinking down, him getting into the engine, him shrinking the core with Hope. And you know what I mean? And the moment where like, where Scott's like, "Hope, or is that you?" And she says, "Yeah." Like, and notice how all the problems all disappeared because they have each other now, and they know that they have a goal. Yeah. I love that. I loved that sequence. I thought it was really cool. And the whole fight where like Hope and Scott fight Kang for the first time to fight for the engine, I thought was badass. I thought that was so cool. Seeing how like I love how Jonathan Majors
him, bro.
Dude, Jonathan Majors said that his best way to describe this Kang is that this Kang doesn't, waste any energy. You know what I mean? He just doesn't waste any movements. That's the best way you could describe him. And it shows that he just knows that they're just like literal like pests. Like he doesn't even need to like sweat or pull us. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't need to do anything. He just like flick, get out of here. You guys are not worth my time. I'm taking this engine and I'm leaving here with Janet to prove to her, like, you left me for dead, you're going to leave them for dead. And I loved also how MODOK ended up, like, revealing himself to Hank when Hank is still trying to, like, float over there, waiting for them to, like, all get on the ship. And then, like, MODOK attacks it and kind of does his, like, reveal. I thought that was hilarious. Like, I was like, oh my God. He's like, Darren, you're huge or whatever. He said Darren something. And he's like, my name is MODOK. Also, the dude that plays Darren Cross, I don't remember his name on the top of my head. I could probably look it up right now because I'm on IMDb. I think his name is
wasn't it Scott something? Or?
It's like I forget what his name is. I don't even know if I'll be able to find it. I should be able to find it, but people will know who I'm talking about. The dude that plays Darren Cross, I thought killed it as MODOK. I know Darren Cross in the comics doesn't become MODOK. I know it's like somebody else, but I thought for what they did, that was accurate. Like, his performance was spot on for MODOK. I was like, that's MODOK. If you played Superhero Squad, the video game, and saw the cartoons of Superhero Squad, because that was my first introduction to MODOK, along with Avengers, I think it's Avengers Assembled, or Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the one, I forget the one that had Kang in it, I can't remember on the top of my head, I think it was Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, but that was my other introduction to, like, my second time, learning about the character MODOK. So, seeing for what I've seen, that is accurate for MODOK. Like, he was spot on, the dude that plays Darren Cross playing MODOK. I thought it was great. I like how they did that. Like, they didn't follow the comics per se, but I liked how it fit for Darren Cross becoming MODOK. I thought that was perfect.
Stoll.
Yeah, Corey Stoll. I thought did an amazing job as MODOK. I thought it's MODOK. I was like, when he said there's only MODOK, I was like, that's MODOK. I'm like, just put on some hair on Corey Stoll's, what is it? I can't remember his name on the top, man. What's his name again? Darren Cross. And that is MODOK. I'm like, that's MODOK right there. So I really enjoyed that. And I really enjoyed where they all end up getting back to, Kang's palace. Or at least, Janet. And Janet's talking to him and he's explaining the multiverse and explaining that, like, all my other Kangs are going rampant right now. And I did what I needed to do to go, me destroying the multiverses and stuff and killing people. I wish that mattered, but I need to do this to maintain peace in the multiverse or whatever. Like, he was just saying, like, that's what I needed to do it, like, to keep my other Kangs from going rampant. I thought that was really cool. Like, he had his own reasons why he was doing what he was doing, but he's such a villain that he doesn't care about killing people. Like, he just does not care. He's like, I need to do what I need to do. And I need to like, well, all my other Kangs are doing all the other stuff. I'm doing what I need to be doing. And it's cool because the other Kangs are afraid of this version of Kang. That's why he was sent here. I thought that was really cool too, to build up the threat level of who he is. I thought that was really cool. And the quantum realm works outside of time, so I thought it worked very well. But that big fight sequence at the end I thought was sick. Like, I'm gonna let you go into that of what you liked about that, because I thought it was cool. With, like, it was like a all-out war in the quantum realm, with it, whether it be like Gentora and all of her, freedom fighters, and whether it be Scott being big as hell trying to stop Kang from leaving. I thought that was a whole big cool sequence. Like, I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, like, it just reminded me of, like, all the old Avengers movies and, like, how they're, like Infinity War and Endgame, and how, like, getting a big group of people to fight, the bad guy, and and like you said, this movie reminded you of Star Wars. Like, it definitely I'm not, like, as big a fan.
But what I was talking about.
But yeah, dude, this movie definitely did remind me of Star Wars.
It's the world building and how big the world is,
and the some of the characters in the quantum realm, for sure.
100%. Like, we get introduced to Quasar, or I think his name is Quasar or Quaz, or I think his name is Quaz, maybe, the one that is the telepath that's able to read people's minds. And
he
that's
was cool, man.
He's from
I hope we see him again.
Oh, I'm thinking we will, but his name is I think it's what is it? Because it's on the tip of my tongue, and I know him from a good place. William Jackson Harper? Yeah, he plays the character Quaz. I thought he did a great job too. Especially because him and Gentora and also Mev, I thought were standouts, and I do think
Mev
that
the one that got like crapped on by Kang.
No, I forget who that character was. Or
the one that, like, he did, like, the Shang-Chi, like, ring spin. And
because Veb is, I guess, David Dastmalchian, which, David Dastmalchian was one of Scott's friends. Remember, a part of, like, the group? He was one of Scott's friends, the one that said about Baba Yaga. So he plays this character Veb, which that's the one that has, of course, like, the red ooze that people are able to hear the aliens. Yeah. But I forget the name of the one that was, like, got shit on by Kang by, like, taking his beam and blasting it back into the dude's beam center dome piece. But like, yeah, I forget the character. We're not gonna see him again because we all know he got destroyed. Like, bro's like dead.
I wish, like, I liked MODOK, but I didn't like the humor so much. Some of it was good, but like some of it, in my opinion, I was like, I wish, I don't know, I want to see more of that character because like I know how menacing he was.
Yeah.
And the menacing parts were good. I would love to see more of that, but unfortunately, I mean, you know,
I'm annoyed that he died. I'm annoyed that he died. Like, let's just say how it is. Like, I was annoyed. I was like, I wanted more of this character.
The way they did that, I felt like they could have. I don't know.
I feel like it was kind of goofy off of one little like. Remind you, he's kept this grudge for such a long time since Ant-Man 1. And he was kind of devoted to like help Kang. I mean, he helped Kang build up his empire, and Kang saved his life. But like, I hated the one like, you know, all Cassie had to say is "Don't be a dick," and he's like, "Look at me, I'm a dick." And she's like, "Well," she's like, "But it's not too late to not be a dick." And then automatically, he's like the moment where like Kang is like, you know, stopping the ants from coming in because the ants are the thing that ends up saving Hank when Hank ends up getting taken down by MODOK in the plane. We end up finding out the ants have like built a colony down in the quantum realm, and they're like thousands of year old ants, like they've aged, and they've like enhanced in their tech, enhanced in their like their smarts, enhanced in their colony building. Like, these are like highly advanced ants, and mind you, Kang right now is trying to stop them from like, is trying to stop them with the force field from trying to like take him down. And then next thing you know, you see MODOK flying in and says like, "I am," or he says, "I am not," like he says, "I am dare," and he says, "I am not a dick," and then he just blows it up. Okay, and he says, "I am Darren and I am not," and then blows it up. I love Kang's face when he ends up coming in. He says, "I am Darren and I am not," and he just freezes his face inside the dome. And Kang is like, "Oh, what the hell, bro? Like, where did you come from, man?" Like, and he says, "I'm not a dick," and blows it up. And then that's when the ants like overwhelm him. But the thing that's people's biggest problems about the movie, bro, is people don't like how the ants overwhelmed him.
But that's the thing, dude. Like, they're that like.
Dude,
there's that many ants.
There's like that millions of ants.
Yeah, millions of ants. They're huge.
Highly advanced
ants. And
strong.
They didn't even beat him, dude.
No, they're highly advanced ants. They're strong. There's about like a couple thousand of them. They built. You know what I mean? They're technologically advanced.
Still alive.
And dude, he's still alive. Exactly. He was not defeated, bro. He was overwhelmed, but not defeated.
Yeah, he was overwhelmed, but yeah, he was still holding his ground. He was still alive.
Exactly. You know? Like he won. He like also think about like the lead up to that. He literally was fighting a whole other fighting all of Gentor's freedom fighters on top of everybody else. On top of then the ants come in. And then, but actually, scratch that. Like, he fought Cassie, Hope, and Scott way before the ants came in, and he wrecked shop with them until like Scott. I love when Scott like got really big and pushed him up against the wall and kept slamming him.
And he just like releases his
energy burst, and then just said, "Get the hell off me, Scott! Like, you ain't shit, bro. Like, how many times I gotta tell you I'm Kang? Like, you ain't beating me." Until you know, of course, Hank comes in there with like thousands of highly technologically advanced ants, and they wreck shop on him. But not only that, like, if it wasn't for MODOK coming in there and disrupting his force field, Kang would have been able to like be okay without those ants getting on him. It was the fact that MODOK came in there and surprised him and broke his force field. But even then, Kang was not taken out. He showed up at the end of this movie. While we have Cassie, Hope, and Hank all walking through the portal, we have Kang, literally putting hands on Scott and pretty much beating him to death at the end of the movie. Like, can we talk about that real quick? Like, he was putting hands on Scott.
Yeah, he was fucking him up, bro. Broke his helmet. Dude, he could have killed him right then and there, and he decided not to.
I can't talk right now, I'm sorry. I'll do it in a minute, okay?
Me and Mom and the baby.
Okay, I'll catch up.
Okay.
Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, that he was putting hands on Scott, bro. Like, he was Scott tried his hardest, but like, did you see the power behind those punches?
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see him in Creed 3, man.
Oh my god, yeah, and he's got power in that movie as well. Jonathan Majors in general, bro's a unit. Bro is yoked. So to have him like that whole sequence where like Scott thought he could fight him. 100%. Jonathan Majors. Well, let's be real. Jonathan Majors. It was his movie, and he stole the show. Like him playing the character Kang. Jonathan Majors, Kang the character, demanded your attention, and Jonathan Majors got my attention. Like, he had my attention going in the movie.
This might as well been called Kang the Conqueror Quantumania.
Yeah, seriously, bro. Like, it was crazy, man. Like, that whole fight sequence, and like, oh, I love when he was talking to Scott saying, you thought you could win. You know what I mean? Why did you think you could win? I loved all that. I thought that was really cool when he said all that. He's like, you thought you could win. And I
love that line.
Jeez. Oh, man. Like, he kicked the shit out of him. And if it wasn't...
Scott, too. Like, Scott, like, he...
Scott got some licks in, too. Scott got some licks in.
Dude, it was like Rocky versus, like, Scott was Rocky.
It was Rocky versus Drago, bro. But even then, it's like to the point of like Drago not taking any like major licks from Rocky. Like, it was like that. Like, but like it was like Drago 10 times more on steroids in that moment. Like, it was like, damn, bro. Like, he had some like, because even the punches that Scott was giving out, Kang wasn't really phased. He kept coming back for more. He's like, get your ass over here. Like, I'm putting you down. Like, easy money.
If it wasn't for Hope, dude.
Oh, bro, Scott would have died.
He would have died, been stuck down there, or something, dude.
Because he makes, like, at the moment he says we both just have to lose, makes the engine unstable. And at this moment, we think, like, oh, at this moment where Scott has his arm broken, is on the ground, and he's not moving, that's when, of course, Kang ends up running towards the portal, but then Hope ends up coming right through and hits him with the stingers, with her stingers, and says, you ain't getting out of here, dude. What do you think you're doing? Yep. And I love when Scott ends up, he sees that, oh my god, if Hope's willing to do this, I have my partner here, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna hit him with one more, because that combo where like Hope is shooting him with the beams, and then of course Scott ends up coming over there and socks him in the face and socks him into that device, and the device ends up sucking him in. Yep. I thought to myself, we all know he's not dead. Let's just get that out of the way. He got sucked in. He's not dead.
He just got sucked into a thing, dude.
And also, it's called the multiversal engine, bro. He could have got put anywhere.
But the thing is, too, like, I like a lot of the theories that that Kang the Conqueror is gonna become the Beyonder.
Oh, 100%. I can't wait to talk about that.
Yeah, me too.
Like, that's actually gonna be our next video, guys. Like, we're gonna be talking about, like, is Kang dead and where things could go, but long story short, bro is not dead. Like, he's not dead. I knew that right away. And people were upset that he got beaten up by ants. People got upset saying, oh, he got, like, Scott and Hope beat them. I was like, no, you guys don't understand this. Kang is beatable. But the fact of it is that what makes him so threatening...
He just got outsmarted in that instance. He's not dead.
It's not even like the fact that he got outsmarted. It's the fact of one, it's like he had multiple surprises happen on him. Like he had like MODOK breaking his force field, have the ants take over him. His suit was ruined. He's just a man in a suit, and his suit was ruined. Doesn't mean that he's not a complete unit. He's great in hand-to-hand combat, hence him beating down on Scott so easily. And you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, don't downplay Scott. That was impressive. He was able to even stand somewhat toe-to-toe. Like, not even, but, like, survive to tell the tale about fighting against Kang. But, like, he had nothing to fight Hope against when she came in shooting him with beams. You know what I mean? Like, he got overwhelmed at that point. That's why he got punched into the unstable, multiversal engine and ended up getting sucked in. So the fact of it is that, yeah, the quantum realm is thriving right now. The freedom fighters won, but, like, at what cost? Because, as we all know, at the end of the movie, we get another welcome back, like, the song Welcome Back playing while Scott's walking down the street, and he's going to pick up a cake for Cassie, an ice cream cake by his little boss, which, might I add, that cake looked terrible.
Dude, that cake, I wouldn't have eaten any of it.
Dude, I said right away, that's pistachio, bro. It's pistachio ice cream.
It's something nasty, man.
And the dude didn't, like, he said to Scott, "Oh, I came out of 40 years of to come out of a cake. I came out of 40 years of cake
like
making.
20 years.
Like 20 years of not making cakes. I came out of retirement to make you this cake, and it looked like straight shit." I said, "Oh damn, bro." I said, "That's gonna taste terrible." I was like, "Damn." So the fact of it is that, I love how he did celebrate. They all came to celebrate Cassie's birthday at the end of the movie, and she's like, "It's not my birthday." He's like, "Well, I missed a couple." I thought that was so cute. I was like, "Oh man," like, it shows how much, like, Scott is not wasting any more time. You know what I mean? He's like, I need to, I need to just live in the moment. I need to, I can't let these little things get, you know what I mean? Like, Cassie showed me I need to, like, not, just because things don't involve me doesn't mean I shouldn't help out. I loved that. I loved that message. I loved how he kind of, it re-sparked, Scott's will to fight again. Scott's will to fight for the little guy, like he said in his book. You know what I mean? I thought that was cool. He's like, and I loved in the book when he said there's always room to grow. Scott grew. You know what I mean? He grew by learning by Cassie. Like, you know what I mean? Just because it's not your fight doesn't mean we shouldn't help. I loved the messages that they had in this movie. But also, I thought it was funny when he ate the cake and it just went straight to the credits. He said, "Oh God," it just went straight to the credits. I was like, "Yeah, bro, I bet you that cake did not taste good." So, but we gotta talk about now the biggest post and end credit probably I've seen since, like, I don't even know, since, like, swear to God, or like, yeah, like with I'm trying to think of, like, a really big post since the one post credit at the end of Captain Marvel, with Captain Marvel showing up with the beeper and showing up in front of Natasha and and Steve and Rhodey and who else was there? I think it was also Bruce. That was and said, "Where's Fury?" I got goosebumps in just like that post credit sequence. I had mad goosebumps. And mind you, like, when they end this movie, Scott's like says to himself, like, "Oh, we beat Kang, right? Oh, he didn't get out. Like, you know what I mean? He wanted to get out, but he didn't get out. We beat him." But he said that if he didn't get out, bad things would happen. And Scott questions to himself, like, what did I do? Did I make a mistake? Did I just doom everybody? Like, did I just do that? But then he says, "Oh no, we beat him. We're good. Like, it's not a big deal." And mind you, the only one that knows about his variants is Janet. She's the only one that, like, Kang explained to about his variants. So to have the end credit, the post credit be all the variants, too, all the variants pop up in the post credit, and we have, dude, I flipped out when one of the variants was Rama Tut. I flipped out. I said, "Oh my God, it's Rama Tut!"
Dude, especially because of Moon Knight, dude.
Exactly, and it makes me even also, like, with the Easter egg in Moon Knight.
Too.
Exactly, because Rama Tut was the first ever variant, like, of Kang. Like, that was the first ever Kang appearance, was Rama Tut, and Fantastic Four fought him. So I thought that was awesome. So it gives me hope of what the Fantastic Four movie will do if we don't get Rama Tut being in Moon Knight season 2, because they're not sure if they're doing a Moon Knight season 2. So it makes me wonder, because we got an Easter egg to Rama Tut on that one kid's back when Mark was fighting that one kid on the roofs of Egypt.
Yep.
I love how he had the Rama Tut Rama Tut spray painted on the back. So it makes me wonder, are we going to get Rama Tut in there and see his backstory, or are we going to get him in Fantastic Four and they're going to, like, honor, like, how, like, his first appearance in the comics, like, of Rama Tut, facing the Fantastic Four. So are they going to do that? Because I think it was in a Fantastic Four issue where they fought Rama Tut. So on his first appearance, where Kang first showed up, was when he was Rama Tut before he became, the conqueror that, Kang that we saw in this movie. So I'm really excited to see what they do with Rama Tut, but also, like, the other versions of Kang, because that was the Council of Kangs. We had Rama Tut, we had, I forget the other one. I think it was, I don't think it was Immortus. One of them might have been Immortus, and then one of them might have been the
Immortus and the Scarlet.
It's Centurion. Yeah, the Scarlet Centurion, which that was the futuristic Kang, the Scarlet Centurion, and then we had the other one, which is Immortus, which
Who was the one that was talking all weird? Was that Immortus?
Which one? Because they were all talking
The one
mad
that's like
weird,
all
bro.
blue and not the RoboCop looking one, the other one that was like talking all weird.
Oh yeah, that was Immortus. Like he's like he said like because he's the one that's the leader.
He's like all of us.
Yeah, because Scarlet Centurion's like, how many did you call? And he's like, all of us.
Yeah,
so
bro,
I love that.
thought
I
he had
love
a
that,
weird
bro.
voice, but
I
I like
Jonathan
how,
Majors, bro. Like Jonathan Majors, like playing all these different roles, giving us giving us a taste of his acting.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome.
Oh, bro, he is a chameleon, man. Because you saw he could play like it's crazy because I didn't just see Jonathan Majors in cosplay. You know what I mean? I saw like shit, like this is gonna be insane. Like he's giving us a glimpse of where everything is going into Kang Dynasty. Like the Kang Dynasty has started. It started. The Council of Kangs and them saying that, you know, that universe has touched the multiverse, like the universe that defeated their most feared Kang. They're like that universe has touched the multiverse. We got to stop them before they ruin our plans. I'm so excited, bro, for going forward, man. I'm so here. But I would say my favorite moment also as well, you know, we see all the other Kangs out in the Coliseum when he said, how many did you call? I loved the moment where we saw every single different version of Kang. I loved it.
Oh yeah.
But my favorite part was with the Kang out in the crowd hyping, like he's so excited. He's hyping up the other Kang. He's like, "Oh my god, you see that, bro?"
Dude, that was so funny.
I was like, "Why is no one laughing?" Bro. It was like psychotic laughing of just like, "Oh, let's do it. It's our time." You know what I mean? I love that. I know people thought that scene that I don't even know why people thought that like that scene was like bad. Like a lot of people thought like because you know the real rejects,
it's literally from the comics.
Dude, the real rejects hated that sequence. They're like, oh my god, like it feels like Jonathan Majors is just in cosplay. I was like, bro, like come on, bro, that's the comics. That's Kang. We're gonna see other variants in him. What do you want?
Scene from the comics.
Yeah, that scene is directly from the comics too. We're out in the Coliseum, like out in the crowd. Yeah. That's from the comics. So I find it weird that people just aren't liking it. I'm like, what do you want from Marvel? Like they're giving us
it's a movie adaptation.
Like, what do you want, bro? Like this ain't DC, bro. Like they're giving us what we want. Like they're giving us what the comics are. Like what do you want? So my favorite credit though is the Loki one. The Loki one gave me chills and made me gasp and made me just like I even said like let's go. You heard me, bro. Yep. I said, "Let's go!"
And then everyone started cheering after you said that.
Yeah, everybody.
In the Dolby, in the
Dolby showing. Once I said, "Let's go," when because that's a snippet. That's a scene directly from Loki season 2. Like that's a scene.
It has to be. It has, dude. It's definitely. Is.
And I love it because it is that version of Kang is what was the name? It was like
something timely.
Something timely. And I love it because that is like the snippets that we've been seeing for for Loki season 2. That explains one of the snippets that we saw when he's all dressed up is because he's trying to figure out and trying to stop Kang because he's the only one that knows that Kang changed the TVA. No one else knows about it. But I love how he's like trying to show Mobius like look. You might not like this is the threat right here because you saw Loki's face. He was scared. He's like, oh my god, he who remains was right. Like, oh my god, like this isn't good. And I love how Mobius is like, this is the dude you're afraid of, and he's like, yes. I loved that. I loved that sequence.
And Loki went up against
Loki went up against a Kang that was like trying to help them. But
yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And notice that he wasn't lying. And this shows that he wasn't lying, that there's another version of Kang. So it's like, I'm super excited for Loki season 2. Guys, I'm going to be doing Patreon reactions for that, like episode reactions. I'm going to do watch parties, staying up until 3 while I record my Patreon reaction. Go subscribe to my Patreon because it's about to go crazy. It's about to go crazy. You see how hyped I'm getting now? Just wait until I start watching that show and like things start happening. I'm gonna start like screaming and my reactions might be priceless, bro. Like I'm so excited for that Loki season 2. I'm glad we don't have to wait, bro. I'm glad like it's this summer, bro. I'm glad we don't have to wait. But
yep.
Honestly though, like like overall, like, you know, what would you give this movie? Because all I know is that I enjoyed this movie. I don't agree with I never agree with Rotten Tomatoes, like,
No,
ever.
I don't
even pay, like, I don't even listen to them at this point. I just laugh at the scores that they give. Like, I don't even care. But like, I agree with the audience. Like, I would say it's up in the 80s, like 88. I agree with that. I thought it was good. Yeah. It wasn't bad. I thought this movie executed what it needed to do. I thought the story was good. It tricked me, like I said, because I thought he was like, he took the offering from Kang because he wanted to get more time with Cassie. It tricked me, yes. I do think that maybe some things got switched up before they came up with the official cut of the movie. But either way, I'm fine with it because he still did it at the end of the day for Cassie, and it still showed the message that, you know, Cassie, you know, gave him more room to grow about, you know, helping out people, and there is more threats out there. This movie showed Scott that there's bigger threats than Thanos. Like, I can't be, like, lacking. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly, yeah.
Because, you know what I mean? I almost got, you know, me lacking almost cost me my family. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to see what happens going forward. But I honestly, you know, I loved this movie. Like, I really don't give, like, you know, grades or anything, but I give it, like, and I'd say I give it an 88. I agree with the audience. I give it an 88. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I give it at least an 80.
At least. You know what I mean? And that's still good for a movie. You know what I mean? It's still great. Yeah. So, I'm excited. This movie did what it needed to do. I don't agree with, you know, fans saying that this movie was bad and fans saying that they laughing at, you know, key parts or saying like, oh, like, and not, or like being upset about Kang being, you know, taken down. I just explained the reasons of, you know, why he got taken down, but he's not gone, which we'll get into in the other video. But Troy, do you have anything else to say? I just want to say thank you for being here, bro. I appreciate you doing this with me.
Thanks for having me, man.
But yeah, do you have anything else to say before we roll out the video?
Oh, no.
Guys, of course, go subscribe to Troy's channel at TP Media. I'm gonna put that down in the description below of the video. And yeah, guys, we're gonna be jumping into our next video talking about like if Kang, like what's gonna be happening with that Kang and our theories that we have about what's gonna happen going forward. But yeah, guys, yet again, let me know what you thought about Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Let me know if you liked it. And also, yeah, again, here, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, post notifications, like this video. I'd love to have you guys here, part of the family, part of the channel. We're all about spreading love, positivity, and motivation. And yet again, guys, we're almost to 700 subscribers. That's the goal, to hit 700. My initial goal is to get to 1,000 by the end of this year, and I know you guys can help me with that. But also, you know, we have some collabs coming up soon too. You know, I got my bro over at All Things Dope. You know, he has his own channel. He wants to do a collab soon, so hopefully we'll be doing that. Most likely for Guardians, you know, Troy will be here, and that's actually going to be my first ever. Man. That's actually going to be my first ever collab, so I'm super excited to do that. To get our communities together, because like I said, it's all about you know helping each other's channels grow and get to our goals. So I'm excited that I found somebody that, you know, that can reciprocate that, and it was all about, you know, helping each other's channels grow, and is all about spreading love, positivity, and motivation. So I'm excited for that. So stay tuned for that collab going down the line with, you know, in May, because that's when Guardians comes out. But guys, yet again, that was the video. Hope everybody has a great day, a safe day, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.